Me, Matt here.
Good, Kyle.
You know what time it is.
Me, Matt's right through the night. Killing Daniel's got the size. Wheels of fury on the ground. Engine roaring in the sound. Feel the power, let it rise. With the metal in our eyes. Wheels of fury rolling strong. Together we will carry on.
This is Killer Kyle, and welcome to a special episode of Wheels of Fury.
Hi.
And yes, 5 years ago, or 6 years ago rather, we did the Owen Hart tribute video.
Yes.
And today is the anniversary of one Eddie Guerrero,
Yes.
the passing. And yeah, I'm going to talk about a few of his matches, his accomplishments, and title reigns.
Yeah.
You know, what life would have been like if he was still here, rather.
Yeah, for sure.
But
We, like going. And, just reminisce of the career of Eddie Guerrero.
Yep.
So we start things off in AAA.
yes,
He was a AAA World Tag Team Champion one time with his tag team partner, the Medicine Man, Art Barr.
yes,
And that's where Eddie got the Frog Splash from. Art Barr originally used the Frog Splash as his finisher, and then when Art Barr passed away,
yeah,
Eddie started using it as a tribute to Art Barr. I actually watched a match between Eddie and Art Barr. I can't remember who they took on. And, watching Art Barr do the Frog Splash, he was so smooth with it.
yeah. The thing is too is that he was, I don't know if he was 6 feet, but he was taller than Eddie,
Yeah.
and lengthier.
Yeah.
But yeah, when Art passed away, and again, not knowing a lot of matches from those two, but one of those teams that I wish would have got a shot in WCW, and who knows? I don't think they even had a match in WCW. A shot, rather.
Yeah, I think by the time Eddie was in WCW, I'm trying to remember, I think Art may have already passed at that point, I think.
Yeah,
I'm not 100% sure, but like somewhere around there, I believe.
right.
And then he was inducted into the AAA Hall of Fame in 2008.
Yes.
Now it says here, Cauliflower Alley Club.
Yeah, it's another wrestling promotion. I have no idea. I didn't look into it.
Well, he won the Men's Wrestling Award as part of the of course, the Guerrero family, the wrestling Guerreros, the Guerrero family.
Yes.
Also in 2008.
Yeah.
And then we go over to ECW, Extreme Championship Wrestling.
Okay, yeah.
He was he held the World Television title twice. He was inducted into the Hardcore Hall of Fame in the class of 2015.
Nice.
And we go to the Independent Wrestling Association, Mid-South. He held the IWA Mid-South Heavyweight Championship on one occasion. And then we go to the Latin American Wrestling Association. He held the LAWA Heavyweight Championship on one occasion. Go over to New Japan. He was in the Best of Super Juniors 3 in 1996. He was part of the Junior Heavyweight Super Grade Tag Team League, also Tag Team League in 1996 as well, with the great Sasaki. And then we go over to the Pro Wrestling Federation. He held the PFW World Tag Team Championships with his brother Hector on one occasion. He was had the Pro Wrestling Illustrated's Comeback of the Year in 1999, Inspirational Wrestler of the Year 2002 and 2004. He won the Stan Weston Award in 2005. He was ranked number 2 out of top 500 wrestlers in the PWI 500 in 2004. Ranked number 1 of the top 500 wrestlers in the PWI 2003. Ranked number 18 of the top 100 tag teams for PWI year with Art Barr in 2003. Go over now to World Championship Wrestling. He was a 2-time WCW Cruiserweight Champion, a 1-time WCW United States Champion, and he was in the WCW United States Championship Tournament in 1996. He won the Battle Bowl Championship ring in 96 as well. It was the World Cup of Wrestling with Randy Savage, Lex Luger, Johnny Brad, Sting, Chris Benoit, and Alex Wright. Then we go over to World Wrestling All-Stars. There's quite a few accomplishments here. He was the WWE International Cruiserweight Champion once. The World Wrestling Association Trios Champion once with Chavo and Mondo. Then go over to the WWF, WWE. He was, of course, the WWE Champion. Right here. The WWF Intercontinental Champion twice. The WWE United States Champion, 1-time WWE Champion, 2-time Intercontinental Champion, 1-time United States Champion, 2-time European Champion, 4-time Tag Team Champion, twice with Chavo, once with Tajiri, and once with Rey Mysterio.
That's right, yeah.
Of course, he was inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame in 2006. And he was in the WWE United States Championship Tournament in 2003.
Oh, wow. That's right, too.
And I was saying this to Matt before we started filming. If you watch Eddie's career from his time in ECW to his time in WWE, know a pretty good portion of Eddie's career. It's interesting to learn about stuff prior to his time North America, if you will. So, New Japan and AAA and IWA and WWA promotions. And like, he's in 3 or 4 Hall of Fames. He's in the WWE Hall of Fame. He's in the AAA Hall of Fame. He's in the ECW Hall of Fame. Yeah, so 3 different Hall of Fames.
And you know, it's funny because, you know, I always talk about how I was not a WCW guy. But seeing a lot of wrestling documentaries over the years, well, mostly high school, they talk about WCW. And Eddie's always on there.
Right, yeah.
Talk about the cruiserweights. And back then, it just seemed like the cruiserweights in WCW were featured a lot.
Yeah.
And Eddie is one of those guys that, yeah, he was definitely the biggest high flyer in the company.
Oh, absolutely.
The thing that really bothers me is he had such a good career. He was so beloved.
Yeah.
But for years, he had a lot of issues with drugs and alcohol. And
Yeah.
there's a story on the Chris Van Vliet interview that he did with Shell, or well, Eddie's daughter.
Okay.
I can't remember. I think that's her name. And so she's talking about Eddie and how, yeah, she didn't know what kind of person he was. Like, every time he came home, she didn't know if he was going to be a grumpy asshole or he was going to be, like, the best dad in the world.
Right,
It's kind
yeah.
of like the nature of the beast.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. And yeah, there's another story where Eddie came home for Christmas and he was all messed up on drugs.
Yeah.
So yeah, he went to the bathroom and basically OD'd and was clinically dead for I don't even know how long.
Right.
So Hector brought him back, and that's the scariest thing I can think of. And I mean, Eddie fought through that for years. And I mean, with that though, you had him on a lot of infamous matches, like or feuds, like with Rey Mysterio or William Regal, Diamond
Yeah.
Dallas Page. Of course, we get to the Radicals.
Yep.
With Benoit, Malenko, Saturn, and yeah, they all made their way to WWE.
Yeah. And of course, this was, you know, around the time when things for WCW were not the greatest. You guys will have already seen by the time this comes out.
Yeah.
We did a look back at where we started the Look Back at Year series, 2000s, Bash to the Beach, and yeah, anyways.
Yeah.
And so all 4 of them went to WWE and had pretty good careers. I will say though, the group didn't really last very long.
No, but I mean, they all stayed in WWF. Like, I mean, they all did their own thing. Eddie had this angle with China, which
Yeah.
was pretty cool. I mean, again, having matches with Chris Jericho and X-Pac, and I mean, there's a ladder match with Rob Van Dam,
Yeah.
who eventually came from ECW. I mean, Eddie had a lot of really good ladder matches in WWE.
Oh, yeah.
WWF. well, mostly WWE, but still, like, there was a match you had, and it might have been with Van Dam, where a fan came into the ring
Yeah.
and pulled Eddie off the ladder, and of course,
And he kicked the shit out of him.
yeah, gave him a what for. And of course, winning the European title at WrestleMania 17, which I wish I had, but
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if people remember his feud with The Rock.
Yeah.
I mean, and this is how funny he was, like the famous, well, I call it famous in-ring promo. Well, Eddie was like on the stage and The Rock was in the ring. Eddie's just going nuts.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's the kind of psycho that Eddie could be.
Like, Eddie always cut good promos, but when he turned up the intensity, his promos were off the charts.
Yeah.
Not in a bad way, like, Eddie just knew how to provoke, like, not provoke, but, yeah, just get emotion out of people.
Yeah, I mean, and he was very good at that. I mean, the guy, like, they'll say, the wrestler takes their personality, their real life personality, and turn it up to 11.
Yeah.
And that's what Eddie did. I mean, you look at, his segment with Brock Lesnar right before No Way Out.
Yeah.
And that was real. That was Eddie talking about all the shit that he's gone through and owning up to it, which was very noble.
Owning up to it, admitting it, and, talking about how, he's got a new lease on life, he's got a new addiction, which is, life itself, and he, that was, I would say, one of Eddie's best promos.
Yes. And then, of course, No Way Out.
Yeah.
Eddie fucking winning the WWE title.
Yeah.
And at that time, you didn't see, like, okay, I don't want to say small people, but people that size. There was always big men like 6 feet and up,
Yeah.
who always had the WWE title.
Yeah. I mean, and of course, this was in 2003 when Andy won the title. Or 2002. No, 2003.
No, it's 2004.
Yeah. Like, you look at anything, or you look at people that were champion prior to Andy winning the title, the smallest wrestler to be WWE champion was Shawn Michaels prior to Andy. No other wrestler under, you can say Eddie, Shawn and Eddie's height had been WWE champion. I mean, Eddie was like, okay, Shawn was like 6 foot, 6'1", Eddie, I think, was like 5'10", 5'11".
Yeah.
You look at all the other
Randy Savage.
champions.
Yeah.
Diesel, Sid, Taker, Triple H, Batista, any other wrestler, well, like 6 feet and upward, well, over 6 foot. So, like, when Eddie won not only was it Eddie winning the title, it was the fact that he overcame his demons, you could say. He did it for himself, he did it for his family, he did it for the fans, and his culture.
Yeah. That's just it. And I mean, I remember the celebration he did on SmackDown.
Oh, yeah.
And it was like, yeah, he finally did it. You know, here's a guy that became, I guess at that time, Grand Slam champion because he's already been a United States champion and a tag team champion and an Intercontinental and a European, which unfortunately didn't exist after a couple of years.
Yeah.
But, you know, this guy went from being a cruiserweight to the main event,
Oh yeah.
which was, that was unheard of at the time.
Oh yeah.
And so, yeah. And then, of course, we talked about WrestleMania 20 having Eddie, well, that's another feud, Eddie and Kurt.
Yeah.
And Kurt tells a lot of good stories about their, like, friendship or whatever.
Yeah.
It talks about the fight that those two had in the locker room, and afterwards Kurt's like, "Are we done?" And Eddie's like, "No." And then they continue fighting until Paul White basically manhandles Kurt, which
Yeah.
pissed him off. But it's like, I think that was a sign that his heart was failing. Like apparently, when you do have heart failure, your mind gets all messed up and whatever, I guess. But, yeah, like, there are times where people have said, you know, he would be walking in gorilla, like he'd be as pale as a ghost. But as soon as he gets out there, he's like being Eddie Guerrero.
Oh yeah. And you've heard, like, it's been talked about many times. Flip that switch. And you walking through Gorilla, as white as a ghost. As soon as that music hits and he's in front of the crowd and the people, he's a totally different person.
Yeah. And that was the sad part, because you look, I remember Ken Anderson, or Ken Kennedy, and Eddie on SmackDown.
Yeah.
And never once thought that would be the last time that I would get to see Eddie alive.
Yeah.
And I mean, this is like going, even before that, I remember that angle. It was kind of like the Shawn Michaels angle, where he passes out and everybody, EMTs, they all come into the ring and they give Eddie oxygen and stuff like that. And I remember thinking, I don't know, but I remember thinking when he collapsed, it wasn't like when Shawn Michaels and Owen Hart. This was a lot more scarier in my opinion, because he had that far away look in his eye.
Right, yeah.
And so it was like, I'm thinking to myself, this guy has a major health issue.
Yeah.
Something's got to happen. Like, I don't know what's going on.
Right, yeah.
So yeah, then of course, you know, we got the Ken Anderson thing, and then, yeah, I went on my computer. This day, 20 years ago, and then I saw on the WWE network, Eddie's face, R.I.P. And it's like, it just took my breath away. Because here's a guy who was one of the best wrestlers, who beat his demons, who conquered his demons. And the thing is that you can be alcohol-free for years and drug-free for years. That shit stays with you.
Yeah.
There is always going to be, like, issues with your health because of that.
Yeah.
That's why, like, if you're a teenager watching this, don't do drugs.
Yeah.
Because your life is going to be in a downward spiral.
And shorter.
And shorter, yeah. I mean, if you're a wrestling fan, You look at the Von Erichs, you look at Eddie, you look at, I mean, there's others, you know, like, it's just not worth it.
Right. The thing about the Von Erichs was, well, most of the family passed, most of the brothers passed away, but none of them were drug related.
No, it was mostly suicide.
David
And, well,
died from a blood clot.
yes.
Carrie, of course, yes, committed suicide. And I think both Mike and Chris did the same.
Yeah,
Anyways,
but,
I think we would be remiss, I think I'm pretty sure that's the word, if we didn't talk about Los Guerreros.
yes. And it's funny because, and I keep saying it's funny, it's not really funny, but there was a wrestling fantasy program on my computer when I was in high school, kind of like fantasy football
Right,
or whatever. And I had teamed Eddie and Chavo together,
right,
not thinking that, because I knew they were in WCW, I knew they were related and stuff, and of course, 4 years later, they're tag team champions.
yeah. And the thing about it is, okay, they had really good in-ring chemistry, you know, like Matt said, winning the tag team championships, and, you know, the feuds that they had were great. The thing that sticks out in my mind and one thing I will always remember, the vignettes. Whether it be Eddie and Chavo pretending to be was it pool boys or pool cleaner or
Yeah, pool cleaners.
pool cleaners or like pool repairmen or like, you know, going golfing and like, you know, cheating on the scorecards, or, you know, there was one of them just walking down the street and they come across this baby, or come across this lady with a stroller and a baby, and, you know, they're looking at the baby and, you know, they're talking to the lady, oh, you got a cute baby, coochie, you know, all this other stuff. You know, the lady continues walking, they're both like, man, that has got to be the ugliest baby I have ever seen.
Yeah.
And so, yeah. And then, you know, like I say, their in-ring work together was amazing. But just those vignettes were friggin' hilarious.
Well, and that's just it. Eddie was funny.
Oh, yeah.
Whether it's doing the vignettes for Chavo, it was the burrito segment with
Big
Big
Show,
Show.
yeah.
you know? Or hell, lie, cheat, steal.
Yeah.
Like, that was Eddie to a T.
Oh, absolutely.
And, I mean, one thing, you know, and yeah, so when Eddie died, they had the tribute on Raw and SmackDown.
Right.
And, of course, I bawled my eyes out, whatever. One thing that was said, is Stephanie McMahon did her speech, and she had said that she spoke to Eddie not long ago, like before SmackDown, or whatever it was. There were plans to have him win the world title.
Right.
And when I think about that, like again, actions have consequences,
Yeah.
as I said earlier. But B, that is, we were robbed,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
And yes, Eddie had a good career in WWE/WWF and elsewhere, but just to have him take the world title,
Yeah.
I do not want to forget his feud with JBL.
Yes, of course.
I mean, this is a time where WWE was not really that edgy,
Yeah,
but just the whole, like, well, the immigration spot,
yeah,
or Eddie's mother faking a heart attack
yeah,
and thinking, and even I thought it was a real heart attack.
yeah.
But also just the matches they've had.
Oh yeah. You know, look at Great American Bash, the Texas Bull Rope match, or the, what was it, no disqualification or whatever.
Yeah.
The chair shot to Eddie's head, and, or was it Eddie gave the chair shot? No, I think it was Eddie that took the chair shot. And fuck, did it sound like a gunshot?
Yeah.
Then friggin' both of them bleeding like a stock pig. And, oh, it was wild.
The fact is, well, and this is kind of why I don't like bleeding. Like, he went there and he must
Yeah.
have cut an artery or something, because,
He bled a lot.
fuck, yeah.
Reminds me of the I Quit match between Cena and JBL.
Oh, yeah.
Cena bled pretty much as Eddie did. Like, holy shit, that was a lot of blood. Anyway.
Well, speaking of John Cena, like, I was, like we talked about on our SmackDown, what was that, 20th anniversary at the time?
I believe so.
The Best of SmackDown
Yeah.
many moons ago. And the match, Eddie Guerrero and John Cena in the parking lot.
Oh, yeah.
And that was the first time that I saw WWE go outside the box
Yeah.
and have a unique match like that. Like, I mean, that was so fucking cool.
Oh, yeah.
Like, just to see Eddie, I don't know, just, it was an awesome match.
Oh, yeah. And, like, they're fighting in a parking lot on solid concrete ground, surrounded by a circle of cars and other members of the roster or whatever, and they went all out. And it was a good match.
Yeah.
And, like, just think, like, you know, this was 05? Or earlier. Or it might have been 2000. I can't remember when it was. Like, this was still fairly early on in Cena's career. And, you know, Eddie was well into his tenure at this point. But, like, for two guys, the caliber of Cena and Eddie, to have a match and, like, just completely kill it, and, like I said, they're surrounded, it was literally a circle of cars. You got the WWE superstars standing, you know, next to the cars, sitting on cars, whatever, and they're just, the parking lot ground floor under it, and it's just solid concrete, and they're friggin' slamming each other on the concrete floor. They're slamming each other on the cars and in the windshields. And I think at one point, Eddie pulled a tire iron out of the trunk of one of the cars and used it on Cena, and friggin' doing a frog splash from one car to another with Cena laying across the hood of the car, I believe it. Oh yeah, that was. And I mean, like, they did do it, they did do matches like that previously. I think it was only a couple of matches like that they did. But, like, those were brawls. This was, like, it was a brawl, but it was, like, it was a match as well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, it was, again, a unique environment.
Yeah.
And I still wish they do more of those.
Yeah.
But, I mean, that was what it was like back then. You know, it was so awesome to see something like that. Also, I just saw a clip of Eddie doing a frog splash on top of the cage.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow. Like, that's the uniqueness of Eddie. Like, he could captivate an audience like nothing.
Oh yeah, and one story that I heard that I remember, it was over the top rope. It's you could watch wrestlers do interviews, and it was Matt Hardy that was getting interviewed, and he was talking about him having a series of matches with Eddie, and they'd be like, okay, you gotta hit this time frame. Let's say it was 10 minutes. And they'd have the match, and have a really good match. But then they'd go back to Gorilla, and he's like, guys, you went over. You can't do that. You gotta be on time. And they'd be like, sorry, that's my bad. That's on me. And this happened a few times. Matt was like, I say to Eddie, hey man, we gotta go home. We gotta wrap this thing up. And Eddie'd be like, no, wait, hold on, one thing, I want to try something, I want to do this, I want to do it, and, if they go over the time limit, whatever the amount of time they have for the match was, but it wasn't that Eddie, couldn't stay within the time frame of the match, whatever. It all came down to Eddie knew how to feed off the crowd.
Yes, definitely.
Like, we've talked about it before. Like, if you do something and you get a reaction from it, do it, keep doing it. If you don't get a reaction, or you don't get the reaction you want, try something else. And Eddie was so good at that. Just feeding off the crowd and feeding off the energy of the crowd, and as long as he was getting a reaction, he would do whatever during the match. And yeah, even though they didn't stay within the time constraint, if you will, that's just how good Eddie was. Just feed off the crowd and feed off the energy of the crowd, and he like we've been talking about this whole video. And one thing to me that really sticks out about Eddie in my mind, show that man in a ring with anybody and he would fucking make it work.
Yeah.
Whether it be Rey Mysterio, JBL, Kurt Angle, Big Show, Triple H, anybody. Eddie could pull it off. Eddie was that damn good.
I think about Eddie thriving in WWE today.
He had bangers with a lot of the guys in the roster today.
I mean, Eddie and Drew McIntyre, Eddie and Sheamus,
Yeah.
Eddie and Randy fucking Orton.
Yeah.
Hello?
And I know in Mid-South, IWF, you had matches with Eddie and CM Punk.
Yeah.
It was a three-way match. Eddie, CM Punk, and Rey Mysterio without the mask.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a shame, and it's also a shame too, because he was so young.
Yeah.
And I can't emphasize this enough. Don't do drugs. Because the long-term effects, you have no idea how it's going to, you can get an enlarged heart, you can get anything.
Yeah.
And unfortunately with Eddie, yes, his heart just gave out.
And his heart finally gave up on him.
But, yeah, Eddie will always be remembered
Oh yeah.
as one of the best wrestlers of his time.
Yep, for sure.
And I don't think there's any regrets Like, I don't think there's any, oh, I wish he would have did this, or oh, I wish he would have, he fucking did it all.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you go back and you watch his matches in Mexico
Yeah.
and in Japan as Black Tiger,
Yeah.
or, you know, IWF Mid-South,
Yeah.
or WWE, ECW, WCW. I mean, this guy was, and like Kyle said, versatile.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And, you know, to be able to wrestle majority of your career as a cruiserweight, yeah, he had, you know, tag team matches, and, you know, was in kind of say the tag team division. For his singles career, he would go from being a cruiserweight to end up, you know, being the world heavyweight champion, or, you know, world champion, whatever. You know, that goes to show you just how fucking good Eddie was.
Oh yeah.
And like, Eddie being so versatile, like, Eddie, I don't think ever had a bad match.
No, I don't think so either. I don't think of one match where I go, oh, this was the shits.
Yeah.
And Eddie was on it. He always was on it.
Oh yeah. Always delivered. You know, like we were talking about a few minutes ago. Eddie, you know, walking through a gorilla, white as a fucking ghost. But as soon as he went through that curtain, he was a completely different person. He wasn't Eddie Guerrero the person. He was Eddie Guerrero the performer.
I mean, yeah, I just think a tribute to the troops, and
Oh yeah.
he was just pulling ribs and stuff like that. You know,
Yeah.
but that again, that was him.
Oh yeah.
You know,
That's one thing that I haven't really heard a whole lot about is, I don't know if it was a thing that Eddie did very often, or how much he would just rip people.
yeah, I know.
I mean, okay, yeah, during the Tribute to the Troops tour, yeah, he pulled pranks on people, like, don't really ever hear about him, like, you know, pulling ribs on people in, like, you know, ECW or WCW or what have you. I mean, did he? Probably. But I just don't really hear much about it.
And I know I am not a religious person at all, but I do know that, or we know that he found faith
Yeah.
after he got clean, and he would often get the guys together in a locker room, and he would read the stories from the Bible and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And that's just the kind of guy he was. And I don't think there's anybody, I mean, there's probably a few, but I don't think there's a lot of people that had a bad word to say about him.
No. I think everybody loved Eddie.
Yeah.
You talk about, you know, when Eddie got clean and finding a religion. Reminds me of Shawn Michaels.
Yeah. And, you know, that's just it. Like, Sean had to go through shit, you know, just to, you know, find religion or whatever.
Basically, yeah.
Like I said, one thing that Paul Levesque says that, you know, and I'm still not a religious person, but I think that was clever of him to say. Somebody goes, oh, well, oh, he had to find religion to get clean? That's stupid. And Paul was like, well, I don't know anybody that OD'd on religion.
Yeah, exactly.
It was something along
Those lines, yeah.
yeah.
And I mean, and I think that was the thing that, and this probably isn't the case for everybody. There are, I'm sure, a lot of people that when they, you know, religion, if you will, you know, whether it was they started reading the Bible or started going to church, however they found God, if you will, that's what, you know, got them clean.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, it was a little while ago we were talking about Mike Santana, and, you know, he got clean, but it was because of his daughter.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, people have a lot of different motivations to get clean. And like I encourage anybody who's struggling, you know, find help.
Yeah.
Because addiction is so hard to beat.
Yeah.
That's why I said don't do drugs, because, and it goes with anything.
Yeah.
Once you start, it's hard to stop.
Yeah.
And unfortunately with Eddie, he did stop, but it, you know, there was consequences,
Yeah.
you know.
One thing I remember too about Eddie was 2000, like it was 2003, 2004, like towards the end of his life, if you will. Eddie was really jacked, like muscled. Like Eddie was always in like really good shape, but like, you know, nothing too over the top. He had, you know, good definition in his chest and abs-ish. But like, he, you know, I remember the feud he had with Rey Mysterio. And, you know, during the whole Dominic storyline of custody, whatever. Yeah, Eddie, like, I think was hit, like, I'm sure Eddie, you know, worked out in the gym, but it seemed like he was hitting the gym more.
Yeah.
And like, he was a built dude.
Yeah.
And then, of course, he unfortunately ended up passing, but yeah, he really was, like, building muscle, and I was like, had he not passed, who knows what else he could have done in his career.
Well, and the good thing is not that, I mean, whatever. What they took from Eddie's passing is, well, drug testing was mandatory.
Yeah.
Which is pathetic to say because it should always be mandatory, but...
Yeah. Which is, yeah, crazy, but... Had Eddie still been alive, you know, when he, you know, got adopted into the WWE Hall of Fame, could you imagine his, like, acceptance speech? Like, I'm sure it would have been good, like, really good, just like, I'm sure, you know, like, just reminiscing about his career and talking about, you know, talking about growing up in, you know, Texas, and getting into wrestling, and what, and I'm sure the stories he would have told, I'm sure would have been fucking hilarious.
Yeah. Could you imagine? Yeah, what is this? Eddie Guerrero versus Dominic Mysterio.
Oh yeah, really, eh?
Fuck.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Dom has, you know, essentially patterned his career after Eddie. Like, yeah, a match between Dom and Eddie, they would have killed it.
Yes, they would have had...
They would have had an amazing match.
Yeah.
Like, both of them trying to pull off the infamous, I guess you call it the Eddie spot, you know, like take a steel chair, slam it on the canvas, show it to the other person, just all the shenanigans they would pull off.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be funny to watch. Be a good match too. Would be funny to watch as well.
Hell yeah. But yeah, this was a good video to make.
Yeah.
I figure we did one for Owen. I was looking forward to talking about the career of Eddie.
Yeah.
talk
sure.
about him.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
I think in closing, we just say, thank you, Eddie, for your one hell of a career, the memories, the matches, the moments. We love you. We miss you. And next time we will come at you will be, well, tomorrow for a play-by-play of Turning Point. Hopefully they've got a set card by tomorrow. And then next weekend is Full Gear. And then we close out November with Survivor Series, War Games.
yeah.
Last night we had Dynamite, Blood and Guts. That was a damn good show.
Yep.
I did a live on my YouTube channel. Check it out. And yeah, the first ever women's War Games, first ever women's Blood and Guts match. You can easily get the two confused because they're both the same match, just different names. Anyways,
Yeah.
the first ever women's Blood and Guts match really delivered. And then, the men's match, it was over the top and absolutely crazy. And if you haven't watched it, go fucking watch it. It's a damn good show. Tubbs and Hangman had a Falls Count Anywhere match that was really good. And yeah, really good show.
Yep.
So yeah.
So with that, I guess. I mean, Matt. This is Killer Kyle. Viva la raza.
Órale.
Órale, mi gato.
See ya.